The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in the 2023 election, Atiku Abubakar, and his Labour Party counterpart, Peter Obi, are heading to the Supreme Court after rejecting the judgment by the Presidential Election Petitions Court, which dismissed their petitions against the...
Hello guys, please, before we continue this video, please, if you know today is your first time of coming across this my YouTube channel, please kindly hit the subscribe button, click on the notification bell so that anytime I post a new video, you will be the first to be notified. Thank you.
This comes as the judgment was devoid of substantial justice, in his words. This was as the Labour Party candidate Obi also said he would not give up his quest for justice, stressing that the ruling at the tribunal is not coterminous, quote, with justice. The position of both men comes as the All Progressives Congress and its government have continued to savour the victory at the court, which was delivered on the day that President Bola Tinubu's administration was marking its 100 days in office, marking an end to its honeymoon period. The appellants have 21 days to complete their appeal, while the Supreme Court has 60 days or 2 months within which to determine the appeal and give a final verdict. But this comes even as the governing APC has appealed to Atiku and Obi to accept defeat and engage in nation building with President Bola Tinubu. This is as the Special Assistant on Communications to Atiku Abubakar has moments ago called on the Presidential Election Petitions Court to explain to Nigerians and the world how the header of Tinubu Presidential Legal Team was on the CTC copies of its judgment. So what lies ahead of the Tinubu administration as it continues to face a challenge to its mandate from the opposition amidst the need to face the critical issues of governance in the midst of the current socio-economic turmoils? Well, to help us take a look at the times far spent in office by the Tinubu administration and the election judgment fallout, we have joining us in the studio a former member of the dissolved APC Presidential Campaign Council, Media Directorate, Abiodun Ajiboye. He likes calling himself Otumba Abiodun Ajiboye. So
no, I don't like calling myself. I was properly installed as an Otumba Muagu Kingdom.
Okay.
I don't like calling myself. That is what I am.
Okay, very interesting indeed.
Thank you.
So good to have you back again.
Fantastic, my brother.
You've been on what looks like a sort of break. Why has that happened?
Nothing. The rigors of that campaign was quite big, and it's only reasonable to relax for a while and recuperate. And today I'm here because it is extremely essential for me to be here.
Okay.
Successfully, we have been 100 days in government, and that makes a lot of, that makes me very happy. And
it comes on, I mean, that 100 day came on the same day that the Presidential Election Petitions Court was delivering that judgment. Let's take a look at what the opposition political parties are saying and their candidates. Atiku Abubakar says that this judgment is bereft of substantial justice, while Peter Obi is saying that, look, this is not enough for us to be able to say that there's justice, that there's difference between judgment and justice, and that most Nigerians, we can all see, are not even on the streets celebrating with the APC. Talk to us about all of that.
But it sounds like suddenly those two men have become serious lexicon of jurisprudence. They now begin to define judgment and color judgment the way they feel, Well, naturally, when someone loses, it hurts. The two men are hurting from their loss. It's a natural process in life. But when the judgment of Osun came against APC in favor of PDP, there was no truncation of justice. There was no traversary of justice. There was no comment. When the judgment of Obi, when Obi reclaimed his judgment from the Supreme Court in Anambra, it was all right. So, if we call ourselves Democrats, we should be able to take the pain of loss. If we do not have that kind of mindset, we don't have any business in politics. Because when you get into politics, it's either you win or you lose. Those two men have lost gallantly, and they will continue to lose until another election. I tell you that for free.
Well, they say the judgment was full of technicalities. The judges didn't look at the substantial issues in the case. Witnesses that were subpoenaed were actually dismissed by these judges. And of course, they fear for the future What's your response?
They are not fearing for the future. They are fearing for themselves. People should learn to put issues right. We are not morons in this country that want some men will just come and use language in a way that will suit them and feel everybody will buy into it.
Well,
what exactly?
When you say morons, you know, we're on TV.
No, I'm sorry. We are not fools. I'm sorry for the language.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for the language. But we can understand. There's a legal process. Everybody involved, they had an opportunity to argue their cases. They did actually argue their cases sufficiently. If the argument of their lawyers, was not sufficient or convincing enough for the judges, and the judges gave judgment the way they felt right, professionally felt right, what is the essence of now trying to make the judgment look, dissatisfactory and injurious to jurisprudence? That is, you cannot, because you are losing a case, denigrate the judiciary. That is not proper. They should always understand that the political system is a combination of them, us, and even other people. Therefore, preservation of the political system is very important to us, to Nigeria. By extension, respect for the judiciary is key. You don't begin to denigrate the judiciary because it hasn't gone your way. It doesn't make sense. If you say to me that 176,000 polling booths or so had irregularities, even with my common sense, I'm not a lawyer, even with common sense, you say 176,000 polling booths had irregularities, but you fail to produce one polling booth with figures that will show that irregularity, and you think that the judges will take you seriously. How come they did not call one witness to say from that polling booth among their followers to say, okay, yes, this is what happened in my polling booth? They
had 13 witnesses called. Only 3 were accepted by the court, and 10 were 10 of those
thrown out.
Yeah, 10 of those were thrown out.
Yes, because you can't be reprobating and approbating at the same time. You cannot. There's a principle in law they call nemo judex in causa sua. You can't be a judge in your own. You are not the judge. You have presented a case to the judge. The judge has a responsibility, a professional responsibility at that, to peruse your case.
Yeah, but they said they took the leave of the court to actually subpoena some of those witnesses. How come the same court decided to throw 10 out of their 13 that's for the Labour Party?
Yes, I'm sure you know very well that I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah, but you just quoted
But I have common sense.
Okay, you have an understanding of law.
I mean, of course, I did a couple of courses in law, and I know a bit of it. You see, for me, honestly speaking, if you go to court to say there are, you see, how do you even go to court to say that the whole of the polling booths in Nigeria had irregularities? So those ones that are in your favor, what happens to them? I don't get,
right.
Common sense is not even on their side. I really can't understand. I'm talking to you personally as a human being. I do not understand their case. Even to me, they don't have a lot of merits.
Now let's talk about this latest development that is coming on. The Article's aide, Frank Shoaibu, has just said now that the document that had the verdict of the Presidential Petitions Court had Tinubu's, legal team typed on it and all of that. Does it in any way mean that maybe Tinubu's team had access to it before others? And why should that be? Shouldn't it be that is those who need to appeal that should have had this, if that was the case, that there's need for more explanation by the court? Do you have any hindsight?
I do not have any hindsight, but if they have any issue, they should go back to court. One of the major problems they had was attempting to give media justice or media, whatever you call it, to come on social media, create a scenario of fear